So I want to start this stream off by saying to all the motherfuckers over the past year and a half that left my channel because of Cuomo, defended him in comments and chats, and generally like, yay, rah, rah, my team. Yes! That motherfucker's out! Couldn't happen to a fucking better human being. Oh, man. It's just fucking great. I'm so happy he's gone. So give me a minute. I'm just going to get my chat fired up on the laptop because it tends to go a little bit better. But it feels nice to rub it into all of the people that were naysaying and defending that motherfucker for the whole time. Now, am I 100% happy? No. I want him to go to jail. Resigning, I think he's just going to put on his golden parachute, jump out of the plane, and land in a field of fucking unicorns and shit. You know, I don't think he's actually going to suffer for the suffering he's caused. And I'm not talking about what he's resigning for. He should be resigning because of and I gotta be careful, because of all the people he took out in the nursing homes with his poor governing and policies, you know. So I'm trying to bring my stream up. How the hell do I? Oh, yeah, it says I'm live there, so I can see the chat and open that link. And I gotta stop it from streaming. So there's that, and hopefully, I'm gonna type real quick to see if it's working, because I don't know if the chat keeps going when. Okay, yeah, it's working. All right, so we're here to celebrate. We're here to talk, but keep in mind when we're talking about certain things, I gotta really fucking, be vague or something, because we're doing this on YouTube and I don't want to lose my shit. Also, be careful in the comments. You could lose your shit too. So, Jody Peth, read a news article about Cuomo resigning. They still talked about his extraordinary leadership during the pandemic. Did you watch the speech, Jody? I think it was, I had to go to mainstream to watch it, but it was on USA Today's channel. He spent the whole time saying, I didn't do it. But I understand, it's like watching somebody have a mental breakdown because they have to fight narratives that they've been pushing for years, versus the fact that they're a hypocrite and a piece of shit. And he was like, I was just being, meanwhile, if you look at the allegations, they're 100% could not be misinterpreted as some old motherfucker doing old people in aware like shit. He straight up, he broke the law, straight up, which is ironic in New York because he was, champion and beating us to death with this stuff. If you go to a workplace, you have to take classes and do all of this stuff, and all blessed by him. But apparently he didn't have to follow the rules, and it was cringe because he spent the first half kind of saying he didn't do it, but he understands. So he's basically not admitting guilt. He's saying, but because I know everyone's going to accuse me of shit, I'm going to quit. So he fucking... And then he spent the rest of the time stroking himself on how great New York did during the pandemic. Holy shit, did we suck. I mean, if you look at the businesses we lost and the restaurants and the fear in the population and the division and it's a shithole. I like escaping every chance I can fucking get right now. That's what Governor Cuomo has created in New York, and he just sits there. I couldn't finish it. When he started to list his accomplishments as a governor, I was like, are you fucking for real? I hope he goes to jail. He deserves to go to jail, not just for what he's resigning for, but also for what he did that cost thousands, 15,000, I don't know, it was an insane amount, thousands of lives that could have been prevented with a simple, we're not going to put them in the nursing home fucking edict. Old people are vulnerable to all kinds of shit, including the coof. So he should not have done that. Plain and simple. All right, let me get back to the... All right. today's a good day. I gotta say, I'm having a fucking good day. You know, I was driving my friends to the airport because I was hanging out at Sturgis with them last night, and literally they're in the back seat, and my friend's wife looks up on the phone and it's like, "Whoa, Cuomo resigned." I was like, "No, fucking!" It caught me off guard. I was like, "There's no way." He fucking resigned. Yeah, I didn't. And it was just like surreal. And then Steve immediately called me when he found out and was like telling me, you know, oh yes, Cuomo resigned, but he's not going to jail. You know, he should go to jail. He should be prosecuted. He should be in a courtroom getting sweated by like the best fucking attorneys in New York State, and you know, having to explain himself that way where he doesn't have a teleprompter to fall back on. And you know, I'm pretty sure that the hearing impaired interpreter off to the side of his speech was making fun of him during it. It's hard to tell and shit. So, but Deborah Mazines, he should be jailed for those nipple rings. Yeah, true. I hope I never have to see that. I don't know. Apparently somebody had to see that for us to all know that. Or maybe it was a thing on it, you know, his current allegations. He was doing stuff that involved nipple rings. So, Jody, his pressers were pitched against the president's daily pressers. I'm being careful here. Can't say the T word on here. I'll get shadow banned like a motherfucker. Media crooned that he was more presidential and whatever. He stocked up on ventilators, and of course ventilators having an 80% mortality rate. You can do some math to figure out why New York State was in second place for the longest time. Now I think we're in third for per capita deaths in New York. Well, look at what happened with the ventilators. Just saying. That's as far as I'm willing to go saying that on YouTube, though. But honest as fuck, this is definitely good news. Although I did see that I won't be able to go to Canada today. I heard that as well, unless I get a certain thing stuck in my arm, which I of course am absolutely never gonna fucking do ever. So I'm sorry, Canada, you're just gonna have to live without my beard and my money for a while. You know, not that I'm rich or anything, but hey, tourists spend money. And if you want to cut off a bunch of tourists and not have us fucking come to your country and spend money, not to mention all the authoritarian shit you do once we get there, I'm better off without Canada. I'll go to Maine, which is close enough, you know, or northern New York and the Adirondacks. It's almost like Canada without all the authoritarian horseshit. Just saying. So keep in mind, I'm scrolling slowly through the chat here. Freakistan, I saw the title. It clicked so fast. Oh, I misspelled Cuomo. I was so excited. I was typing it on the phone. I should probably fix that, huh? Let me edit the video. Hold on, I'm taking a break from the chat. Although it's very appropriate, I think I'm treading a line if I leave it like that. So I'm going to fix that and go back. All right, so let me pause and get back up to where I was. All right, let's see. I'm trying to find where I was in the comments. Let's see. Hailed nationally for his detailed daily COVID briefings and leadership during the darkest days of... Yeah, only that could be written by the New York Times, apparently, or anybody else. You see, just because he's out doesn't mean there's going to be an admission of we were wrong by anyone. No one's going to say I was fucking wrong on that side of the aisle. Just saying. And if they do, then they're a good human in my book. You know, even if we don't agree on policy, and maybe they like certain forms of government that are very oppressive versus what I'm looking for, but if they can at the very least admit when one of their own fucks up, that's a little bit less tribalistic, and it's a sign of hope that maybe no one's above the law simply because of what side of the aisle they're on. I'd like to know that if you break the law, whether you're a lefty or a righty, and whether or not someone's in power or isn't, I would like to think that you are just as subject to get prosecuted as the rest of us are. And unfortunately, I feel like only if he had to have pissed someone off in the left. for this to happen. This would not have happened if he didn't step on somebody's toes. So I'm pretty sure he's stepped on his toes and someone's toes, and that happened. Because otherwise, because a lot of this shit, why didn't we find out right away? You know, why are we now, after the nursing home thing, why are we just now finding this shit out? Why is he just now resigning? He should have resigned the first time he got accused of this. Why did all of this come out now? There's some tinfoil shit going on for this. But how do you know? The timing seems mighty fucking convenient, if you know what I mean. And I gotta ask that question. It's in my nature. I'm like, this seems awful fucking convenient. This should have come out years ago. I mean, some of this shit happened years ago. Why now? Why just now are we hearing about it? I wonder. Things that make you go, I didn't watch the speech. It's a hard watch because it's him fapping to himself on the fucking speech the whole time. But I just had to watch him squirm. I had to watch him because you could tell he's not happy about it. I'm pretty sure someone made him an offer he can't refuse so that he would resign. Otherwise, I think we'd still be seeing the fight. I think they just don't want the shit show. Because in order for him to stay, he has to go through some kind of shit show, court battle or some shit. I don't know. But it's progress. I'll take it. He's not the fucking governor anymore. Question is, are we jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire? Probably. Will things change? He was saying during his speech that the lieutenant governor will probably be pushing his policies forward. I was getting that impression that as far as what they're doing, as far as what New York City's doing, I think we can see more of that coming even under new leadership. And I put leadership in quotes because we haven't had a leader in New York in I don't know fucking how long. So I think Rudy Giuliani, back when he was mayor of New York City, is the last time we had a fucking leader in either New York City or New York State. The rest of them are just bought and paid for fucking politicians pushing certain agendas by certain companies. But, that's just my fucking impression of it. That's why I'm not in charge. So, let's see. Our California Governor Newsom is next. I am waiting for that. I want to see that recall. I want to see the question is, will he make a fucking cringe speech when it's all said and done? Will he say goodbye, or will he just silently fade into his golden parachuted fucking night? Because keep in mind, these motherfuckers are smiling. I heard Cuomo got fucking $5 million for fucking his book, and nobody read it. Who the fuck wants to read that? Shit, could you imagine? That's like an hour. That's like 8 hours of him. He probably has a fucking audiobook with him narrating it too. Could you imagine? I think that would be like a fucking torture for some crime somewhere where you have to listen to his audiobook narrated by him. Either that or his brother. Let's not forget that motherfucker either. Oh man. This is definitely good news. Okay, I think I read that already. I wish Trudeau would resign. You guys are a little bit behind in terms of reestablishing your freedom over there. I think you guys in Canada need some more protesting and civil disobedience. Though I will say, and I got to be careful here because this is a highly contentious topic. Alberta, Canada. Look at what went down in Alberta, Canada, is for them lifting all restrictions. And maybe that'll give some people the key to do the same thing in the other places. Now, the mainstream news has a completely different slant on what happened in Alberta, Canada. But if you dig further enough, and you don't use Google necessarily for this, you will find the real reason that Alberta lifted their restrictions. Just saying. Mr. Orange Man are happy. I have to kind of disguise his name because I don't want to get flagged, are happy as they see this tiny window of opportunity to put a Orange Man friendly governor in office to pardon Orange Man for state crimes. I don't know about any of that. I don't think Orange Man is any relevance to this whatsoever. This was the left eating its own. And that usually only happens when something behind the scenes didn't go well. Because look at all the shit the left commonly ignores. And they're not ignoring Cuomo. They're shifting blame because then you'd have competing, clashing narratives. So they took a narrative that they're passionate about, that they're on board with, and they went after Cuomo with it. If they would have gone after him over the nursing home thing, there might be some clashing narratives in there, which made for some inconvenient truths that also might shine a light on some other governors throughout the country. And I don't think they were willing to let that happen. So I think that this whole harassment thing was drummed up last minute, and they went and found everybody that he interacted with throughout his, did Cuomo do this to you? He did this to you, didn't he? Did it, right? He did it. I think this is a smokescreen so that no one looks at him for killing grandma, which is what essentially he did. But people don't tend to forget those things, so I'm hoping somebody comes at him about that. He needs to be in court. He needs to be held accountable. He needs to be fined for all of his profits for his book should go right into New York State's coffers and be used to rehabilitate all the fucking restaurants and bars he put out of business. I'm sure there's enough money there. He could put half the fucking restaurants that fled New York City back into fucking business. This needs to happen because he broke the law to a conflict of interest making that book. So any money he made with that book should belong to the people through, obviously, the tax system. But we ain't going to see none of that shit. I'm reaching way far beyond. He's going to be like, I didn't do anything wrong, but because everyone thinks I did and it's a political football, I'm going to leave, so thank you. That's what his speech was. It's going to be outrageous. Don't watch it if you're easily triggered. I'm a little triggered because I watched it, but you guys like that when I do this shit. So, yeah. Oh, man. Let's see here. Sorry, my chat window jumped on me here. Oh, Scott, you're almost hysteric. I'm pumped. This is a good day. I like that we're finally here, and I also like that I've been screaming this for a year and a half. To go and the world has caught. Still exists in the world. So Harold Callahan, Cuomo got a great deal to leave. I agree. He definitely. His feet aren't going to touch the ground, all right? He's not going to jail. He's going to fade into the background in 14 days, maybe. He's a little narcissistic. I don't know that he could keep his fucking mouth shut after this. I'm pretty sure we're not done here. For all I know, he's going to go with his brother and be on fucking CNN, and we'll never fucking stop hearing him talk. Maybe they'll have a fucking show together. They'll be like the seventh ring of hell. Fuck. All right. Decided to throw him under the bus, Jody wrote. Didn't do the same for Bill or President Vegetable and many others. It's about political convenience. Yeah, I'm dying to know what he did that made it, the left eat him, that made him get canceled. Because there's plenty of people that have done similar things, Biden, that haven't been canceled and won't be canceled. So, just saying. On the Big O's birthday party, honestly, I didn't even know. Obama was overshadowed by the Cuomo news. I could give two fucks. I hope he gets the good birthday cake and enjoys his golden parachute that he got for his time in the office. Nothing I could do about that. Grateful Girl, I can't stand creepy, sleazy politician. Yeah, I don't understand why we have this faith and trust in our politicians, even if they're on your side. They're all about the money. they're all about the, they'll tell you what you want to hear and then do what's best. Look at this fucking budget that's getting passed. I think, what, 1.6 trillion's passed in the Senate? Well, guess what? There ain't nobody standing in the way of that. So guess what? Inflation that we used to worry about, who cares if the money you're making today is only going to buy half the shit a year from now? We don't give a fuck about that. We care about all of our infrastructure and energy shit. Yeah, we got to make sure that you're paying now with all your hard labor for all of that. And then a year from now, we'll give you like a 10% raise, maybe, to catch up with inflation. Unless you're one of the many fortunate people partaking in the Great Resignation, which I'm currently considered to be a member of, waiting for all the offered pay to go up, so at the very least your paycheck will scale with inflation. But that could become a death spiral of financial nightmare, which is why, and I'm not giving financial advice, mind you, which is why I'm into crypto. So there's that. I have my eye on Alberta. That's equivalent of USA, Montana. Yeah, apparently in order to escape this shit, you have to go to the middle of nowhere. Like you saw in the video I just played. I talked to her son too, and he said that people leave you alone out here, even if they don't agree with you. And there's people that don't agree out here, but they leave you the fuck alone. They tell you their opinion and they move on. Because here there's a mentality of survival and living your own life and being free to do so. No one here is used to or wanting the government to take care of them, to prevent bad things from happening to them by decisions made by people around them. Here, you have to take care of yourself, or you're going to have maybe some federal benefits, but that's it. And some of those programs are here. Like you can get food stamps in South Dakota. You can get, I don't know if they have Section 8 here. And there's plenty of low cost of living places to go here. Whereas a lot of the other states, those options are going away. Like even in the smaller towns, you got people fleeing places like New York City and going into the rural areas and bidding up the real estate to the point where somebody working at McDonald's in a small town, which previously had enough money to pay at least half the rent there, now they're being priced out of the market. So there's that. And then you add that whole CDC eviction holiday that they're trying to push, and that's causing a lot of people to default on their mortgages. So we're going to see zombie properties, and those properties will be snapped up by big banks and corporations to hedge their shit against the inflation, and in the end, the little motherfucker in the Prius loses. Just saying. All right. Harold Callahan, I thought he's done a hell of a job. That's why it's so sad. Biden says he respects Cuomo's decision to resign after AG report found he did things to women and shit. It's like I like how they're praising him, even though he's a fucking corrupt piece of shit. The D-Live gang is here. I know. I miss D-Live in a way, but I'm not going back. I think I'm done with D-Live. Here, and when I really need to do an uncensored, we're really testing the waters with this live stream. I gotta tell you, I'm not, this might sink my channel because I'm celebrating this, unless it agrees with certain things. But I think I've crossed some political lines. Now, keep in mind, Susan, that this is all my fucking opinion. I'm not an expert. I'm just an asshole. I just know that somebody who has destroyed the state that I live in, that is my home state, and oppressed all of my friends and family, is finally at least being called out on something and getting pulled out of the fucking mix. But mark my words, it's out of the frying pan into the fire. I have a funny feeling the lieutenant governor or anybody that gets elected in the next year, I think the next election, I believe we have a governor battle. I doubt that things are going to change in New York because the people aren't going to vote properly for that. The people have to want change. And of course, I can't say that on here, but there's some things that may also play a factor in who gets elected that I don't necessarily think on the up and up. Just saying. Keto Andy UK. Scott, thanks for doing a live stream while we're still awake in the UK. I didn't really plan to live stream today. I was just going to do the premiere, but I knew because my messages were blowing up, I was getting emails, I was getting phone calls. I was like, I got to go and talk about Cuomo, because there's been nobody I can think of that's been more vocal about Cuomo being a piece. I even wrote a fucking song and a computer game on how much of a piece of shit that Cuomo is, you know, which, by the way, the song is on my album, The Middle Life, which you can purchase at ScottTheTruckDriver.com. So in honor of that, if you really want to listen to that song, by all means, go buy it and play it for all your friends, especially the ones that were supporting Cuomo through this whole time, so you can be like, ha, 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 fuck you. You know, that's what we need to be sharing with people, especially in New York State. If you're watching this in New York State, sorry if you supported that motherfucker. I used to get in arguments. It was weird. It was weird because I knew he was doing things that went against the left's ideology in many respects, but because he had the big D before his name, you know, nobody wanted, everyone looked the other way. And that I always found disingenuous. Look, there's been plenty of Republicans, and I'm not a Republican, by the way, that also have committed crimes in the past and should be held accountable for it, that weren't. And it's basically everyone is on like their tribalist team and they don't want to agree one way or another. And I'm stepping back from the whole thing, saying it's a shit show no matter what side you're on. And it's just a question of which shit show sucks less. And I am leaning a certain direction on that. You know, there's one shit show that I find to be less oppressive than the other shit show. And I'll leave you guys to decide what that is. So you are so giddy. Yes, I'm in a good mood. You know, it's definitely, you know, it's a good day to be alive and well. Plus I'm in South Dakota where nothing's fucking freer than here. I saw no masks in Sturgis last night. We were hanging out, we were having fun. You know, there was live bands, and everyone's making fun of the fact that the mainstream media is talking shit about Sturgis too, which they did. They ran a story. Even NTD News ran one about how Fauci said, oh, I said the F word. Am I allowed to say that on here? I don't know. That dickhead said that he's worried about what we're doing here. I'm like, you know, and what that essentially does is label everyone that came here as an infidel that is causing the spread of certain things, and that we're all selfish and evil and we should be punished for it and ridiculed and point the finger. I can think of a time in history when it was like that, and you know, maybe if you did some homework you'd figure out when that is. It's happened a bunch of times in history now that I think about it. It happened in China and a few other places, and one of which sparked a massive conflict throughout the world. But yeah, needless to say, we're being demonized, people like myself, and we're being separated out from society one day at a time. I can't cross the Canadian border, last I checked. I can't go into New York City and do anything at all, I don't think. I don't think I could use mass transit or anything. I don't know. I'm not going to New York City then. They can have it. You know, I don't want to go down there. I won't drive a truck down there and deliver your shit either. So I hope you got enough shit. I hope you got all your fucking stores stocked up, because dickheads like me are going to be like, nope. And I have a funny feeling a lot of truck drivers are of that mindset. So, you know, it is what it is. But hey, you know, I'm not doing it. I'm not. If they want to shut me out, I'll leave. As long as I know there's someplace I can go. You know, look, I'm in it right now. I can go to any free state. As long as I have that option, you could do whatever the fuck you want to New York then. You know, I'm going to do the best I can to go in and make sure my friends and family are okay and spend as much time with them as I need to. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take these 1 month long fucking deals in the future. It's going to happen, you know. And I have a feeling I'm going to need a lot more of them in the coming years. Now, I'm pretty much stuck there through the fall and winter, I think. But come spring, I don't know. I might even hop in a truck in the middle of winter if I have the opportunity to get out for a little while, just to pile up some cash so I can do this again next summer, which would be great. Because I don't know if I'm going to make it to the Grand Canyon. I did spend a lot of time here in South Dakota. So, let's see here. Steve Tullius, well, we mostly knew the shit show was just sit back and watch, related to the laws of nature, remembering Mom said nature has a way for things to work out. It may be slow and humans are impatient. You know, I honestly did not think this day would come that it would work itself out as far as Cuomo is concerned. I was surprised, to be honest. I was genuinely, like, I didn't believe it when I first heard it. I'm like, no, he didn't. That's a clickbait title or something. Nope, he did. So, you know, and I was surprised because I didn't think that he could be canceled, especially since these people's, you know, oh, look at his leadership during the pandemic. Meanwhile, we're third place in deaths in New York, you know. I don't know. I haven't looked in a little while. Last I looked, we were third place in deaths. For a long time, we were second place in deaths. So there's that. Good job, Cuomo. He was leading us right into the fucking oven. You know, he pretty much what he did, you know. That's what he's doing. He'll probably write another book. The Italian handshake on is the old neighborhood way. I'm surprised, as much as he preached all of the left's more social, I'm trying to fucking, I can't even think of fucking words to censor this with. As much as he preached that, I'm surprised he even allowed himself to do these things. But apparently he thought he was above reproach and couldn't be canceled, and they got him. So, well, and I'm not 100% on board with cancel culture, but he did commit crimes. He needs, well, first he's getting a taste of his own medicine by being canceled, but he needs to be prosecuted. You know, there's people that aren't walking around anymore because of him, and there's going to be more because of the certain things that are going on, that are still going to go on even after he's gone. Bill de Blasio. So there's that. So let's see here. Grateful Girl, it's great to see you happy in South Dakota. Have you ever been to Rockford yet? No, I haven't. So I don't know if I'll get over there with the plans, because I currently got everything mapped out for my plans. But if on my way to my hike I see Rockford, I'll stop by. If I remember correctly, you said you were in Rockford. So Scott's not ever this happy with shit. So I think I'm all caught up. What did I miss? Oh, Josh the Josher. Good riddance to that failed. So yeah, I'm uncensoring shit right now, so give me a minute. Keep in mind that Facebook sometimes censors comments and then lets me know later. So, Scotty, you're so interesting. We don't get tired of your talk. I don't know. Some people get tired of my talk. You know, my sub to unsub ratio is flat. As in, for every 5 people that subscribe for my shit, there's 5 people that are like, fuck this guy, you know, and shit. The Pixie post, my dad is in New York and he's dancing today. Well, my friends were all, I actually brought my friends to the airport today so that they could go back to New York, and we found this out in the car, so they're going to be on cloud 9 for it. But they're also looking at it through this skepticism of, you know, it's not going to change anything policy-wise, you know, because honestly, I don't think that these are Cuomo's policies. Cuomo was clearly pushing agendas that were funded by large corporations. Let's face it. That's how he's got this golden parachute. And if I had to speculate, and this is speculation, opinion, this is not fact. If I had to speculate, I think he stepped on some corporate toes and they weren't ready to put up with it. Like maybe he was negotiating a little harshly and thought that he could ask for more than they wanted to give him. And, but these are all theories, unproven. I'm just some dickhead in a fucking Prius with a bed in it, making, having thoughts on what could have possibly led to him getting canceled, because it certainly isn't the crimes that he's committing. Because if it was the crimes he was committing, motherfucker would be in the courtroom right now, not on TV telling me that he didn't really do it, he didn't mean it, but he realizes he might have offended somebody with his innocent way of doing things. Fuck that shit. He'd be in jail if he was anybody else. And he'd have been fired immediately. He would have been taken kicking and screaming out. He wouldn't have resigned. See, sorry, I get triggered easy. It's a thing. Let's see here. Might as well head over to Sturgis. I've been to Sturgis. I was there last night, and I'll be going back there Thursday. I'm going to go to Anthrax and Black Label Society is the concert. So I'll be at the Buffalo Chip for that. And then after that, onward west, and hopefully no wildfires between me and Yellowstone. Brent Werner, all nurses need to be poked, or they'll be out of a job. Ridiculous. Well, they're doing that everywhere. They're doing it for the military too. But to be fair, when I was in the military, I didn't have a say. I got all kinds of things. I got the anthrax jab when I was in, and a bunch of, I don't know. But when I got out, I was like, never again. Not me. Sorry. You got me while I was in, because I was following orders. But now that I'm out here and I don't have to follow orders anymore, I don't care who's giving them, whether it's de Blasio or Biden or whoever. I'm not following those orders, because there's still a constitution somewhere. I don't know. I think they buried it, underneath certain pamphlets that espouse certain beliefs or whatever, or at the bottom of the $1.7 trillion bill they just passed. And, somewhere there's a constitution. I remember it. It's a distant thing of the past, I guess. I remember some time ago we were a free country, and I don't know when that changed. Well, I know when it changed. Let's face it, we know when it fucking changed. But there should be some nuance to that, because it might have changed before that because of fear. I think we as a society want to be told what to do, taken care of, so that we don't have the uncomfortable disposition of making our own fucking decisions and being responsible for the consequences of those decisions. I think that's been a societal issue that has led us to where we are at today. And unless we change that, this shit ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So, wow, I can't believe they censored that, Brett Werner. And because they censored that, I'm not going to quote what you said, but it's amazing, the hypocrisy and all of that, and that fear is pretty much removing freedom. There's freedom's going to be gone at some point if we don't stop doing this. Now, I like to think there's hope, because I do get to see, like, Sturgis was no joke. Everyone there was talking on the other side of the coin, in terms of what you would hear in, say, New York State, especially on social media. One of the camps I was at, they had a certain news network that is right-leaning running nonstop the whole time. I'm like, oh, I can't. And thankfully the sound was down on it. But I don't want any news, because they're all having agendas, whether they agree with your side or not. That's what that's what was cringy for me, for that news channel to be up. And I'm like, they're really not much better off. They're just listening to what they want to hear, essentially, because that, I believe, is controlled opposition, that particular news network, which I'm not going to mention here, because I think that'll get me fucked with. So... left or right, it's who donates the money. It's follow the money. If you ever want to figure out why shit's fucked up, follow the money. You'll find out. You'll even know who's behind it. Read the studies they talk about. It's crazy. I looked into some more, there's been some studies coming out against keto again, because apparently they had time to remember that now, that keto is apparently more dangerous than certain other things that they should be studying but aren't. Like, say, pokes and shit. But they're still cherry picking data, and it was funded by vegans. So I was like, yeah, that's got to be a good study, right? Yeah, vegans are paying the bills on that one. Okay, yeah, from Harvard. It's a good study, right? Science is just science. You can't deny science. Science is everything. And shit. And I was agreeing, Susan, science is important. So authoritative sources are fucking right, all right, Susan? To listen to your experts. Just settle down, Susan. All right. See, every once in a while, I got to talk to Susan. I'm developing a multiple personality disorder by being on YouTube, apparently. New York Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, I guess that's how you pronounce it, will replace Cuomo and become the state's first female governor. Well, of all the ways to become the first female governor of New York, I don't know that I would want this particular method to be on my resume, but, it is what it is. But as I said, when we were talking about this in the other chat room, South Dakota has had a female governor for a while now. But nobody's celebrating that. I don't know. In fact, they're trying to run her into the ground every chance they get. So even some people that live here hate her. They think she's responsible for everyone that died of COVID in this state. So Ansel Keys fucked America big time. Yeah, I don't know if you looked around, Duncan, but the fucking ain't over. We're still getting fucked, all right? It's just who's doing the fucking, that's all that's changing, but there's some fucking going on. It's not going to stop, we're all fucked. And we're going to continue to be fucked. So, get you some Jergens and we'll be good to go. I can't say that, Stephen Tullius. That was banned long ago from YouTube. My spouse has worked the entire coof as an essential worker with no illness. COVID is real. Oh, shit, I said the C word. But we choose to exercise your constitutionally protected rights. It's the same for, I haven't gotten it. My mother hasn't gotten it and also hasn't gotten certain jabs. She might cave in at some point if they take certain things away. But at the end of the day, she doesn't want it. And neither of us have gotten it. I, of course, have done all kinds of shit that would make Dr. Fauci fucking roll over in the White House and cry. And I still haven't, not only have I not gotten it, and there's no contact tracer that would ever think that I had something to do with someone who did get it. In fact, like I said, most of the people that got it, that I know personally, got it while I was on the road, and they got it in their homes. They got it while following all these rules and locking down and doing all that, and they still got it, and they apparently didn't learn from that. So there's that. Eon Carruthers. Science is adopting the exact beliefs that the people on TV tell you to adopt without criticism. Pretty sure that's what, I don't know who that is, said. Basically, if a study doesn't support the people that are paying for it, you don't get to read it. If it disagrees with certain things, particularly Big Pharma is notorious for this. Monsanto, I can't say that. But other companies, including the ones that make the jabs, by the way, have all had this. And the alarming thing for me is there's no liability. They have protection this time. Now, in previous times, if they put something on the market and it fucking killed a bunch of people or fucked people up for life and ruined their lives forever, which might be happening, you could sue them and get fucking millions of dollars. Class action, too. You could get all your friends millions of dollars that did the same dumb shit you did. But at the same time, this current thing, they have complete immunity on. Just saying. I mean, do you trust that? After their behavior, after the track record of all these companies, do you trust that? I don't. Just saying. But I'm just an asshole. Don't fucking take any advice from me, by the way. This is not advice. This is opinion from the mind of somebody who's been on the road a little too long. Do your own homework, make your own decisions, and talk to your doctor for any medical shit that you do. If you're watching people on the fucking YouTube and making medical decisions, you're fucking up. Okay, Susan? See? I got disclaimers throughout this shit. So. Alright. Brett Werner. Yep, I just watched a mother trying to explain through crying how her 15-year-old daughter got certain things put in their arm and has been damn near crippled since January. Won't see that on mainstream. To be fair, NTD News has run stories of people's adverse reactions, but they're always doing it through the lens of, well, there's no proof. Correlation doesn't equal causation type lens. But yeah, you're not going to hear any of that shit in the news and anything, and they're treading a line there, I believe. But most of the other ones, you're not going to hear any of that. None of that. So keep in mind who pays the bills of all these companies. Who pays the bills? How many pharmaceutical commercials were in the last mainstream television show you watched? Start counting them and writing them down, especially if it's a news program. Just saying. Hopefully they're not advertising on my shit. That would suck. I think they have, though, in the past. Clearly, they just don't know any better, though. Open debate was being deeply... Richard Feynman was a famous physicist. He insisted that science demanded vigorous open debate. I was being deeply sarcastic. Like I said, I didn't know who that was. But, yeah, there's no open debate nowadays, for sure. Brett Werner, the downplay of some side effects, so much like it's a headache and other discomfort, all mainstream crap. You say go on BitChute too. You got to keep in mind, there's a fine line to walk. Even though you may agree with some of the things on BitChute and Odysee, I'm here to tell you they're doing it to stroke fear. Even though you might agree with what they're saying, you still have to look at them with as much scrutiny as you would CNN and Fox. I don't trust anybody. And don't trust me either. Because I'm wrong about shit all the time, except for Cuomo. I was fucking right about that. My credibility on politics has gone up 10 points today. But, at the end of the day, you need to go and dig for your own information. You can't have it spoon-fed to you by anyone, because everyone has an agenda of some sort, including people on BitChute and Odysee. They have their own agendas. Whether or not you trust them, that's entirely up to you. But you should have a healthy dose of skepticism when somebody's getting paid to tell you shit. And that's including me. Do your own research and homework. Dig. Go places. Find out for yourself what the real story is. I can't tell you how many times in this journey I've been like, well, I heard that the world was ending, and I went and looked, and it wasn't ending. But at the same time, things like fuel prices are skyrocketing. $3.54 here, but it might just be a tourist price gouge because I saw it for $2.95. Gas prices in some of the smaller towns of South Dakota. Food prices are up, so... yeah, it's going to be harder to be keto for sure. But at the same time, people are just here having fun, living their lives, and all the demonization in the media on that is way far off, and it's almost laughable. Like, you could literally roll your eyes. They talk shit about you while you're there, and you're just like, where are they at? What are they worried about? So... I understand all sites are messed up, but what I'm saying is love press conference with victims. Anecdotal evidence isn't proof, but you should definitely pay attention to it. And especially what you really got to look for is people you know and how did they react. Do you know anybody who knows somebody? Sometimes that's the better anecdote than just random shit on the internet. Most of the people I know that have gotten it they felt like shit for a few weeks and have fully recovered. To my knowledge, nobody ended up in the hospital from it that has gotten it that I know of. But at the same time, there's a great many people I know that just didn't get it, and they're not necessarily right-leaning politically. So it's a matter of freedom. And honestly, we should all agree on, having the right to choose what you put in your body. Am I able to say that? I probably fucked that up. If you don't see me on YouTube a while, you know what happened. There should be no debate from either side of the aisle on this. Unfortunately, we have the control side and the freedom side at this point, and sometimes that's regardless of political party, because I am finding people who have liberal values that are not, supporting what Bill de Blasio did, for example, so there's that. Debs are reports on both sides. All I could say is we don't see people coming into the hospital from having it, but we are seeing more people who have limited or no jab. And Keto Andy UK, that's right, you are a doctor in the UK. Has mortality gone up in the UK? And is it people with or without? These are all anecdotal reports from you, for example. But as far as what I can tell here, it's not a thing. I haven't heard about anybody who's had a friend or relative and they're here partying, living their lives, as if nothing's wrong. And through conversations I've had, nobody even knows anybody who's fucked up from it right now, or fucked up from certain variants right now either. So what difference does it make at this point, So how long have I been streaming? I've been running my mouth for a while. I think I need some lubrication and shit. This just in, Biden's accuser Tara Reid calls for him to follow Cuomo. Don't get me started. That makes me feel a certain way. If Biden went down, but then I don't know, Kamala. I think I'll put up with Biden a little while longer. Just saying. But that being said, if he's guilty, put him in jail. It's not going to happen, though. You're dreaming. There's no way they'll cancel Biden. Unless it's to get Kamala in there. That's the only way I see that happening. And I'd say there's maybe a 20% chance that they go down that road. Who knows? They're trying to get this budget through first, which he'll sign. So, there's that. I'm an audiologist. That means I work for a living. Oh, okay. I knew you were in the medical field, Keto Andy UK. But at the same time, you have a lot of insight into how your hospital's responding to things and whatnot. So I'm sure you all talk at the cooler, or the lunchroom through your masks and your PPE, assuming that you guys do that in there. Grateful Girl, looking forward to more videos from South Dakota before you go. You're having way more fun here than I am. I may get in my SUV and head out of here for the winter. Winter is very snowy in the Black Hills. I agree. I'm not a fan of South Dakota in the winter. But why are you having a bad time? Well, I suppose if you're a local, the tourist time is not the most fun time, because there's a lot of stupidity that does happen when the rally happens. Like yesterday, I saw a woman fall. Well, I didn't see her fall, but I was like probably a half a mile right before it happened, and she fell off the back of a motorcycle, not wearing a helmet. Which, by the way, there's a whole no helmet law here, and a bunch of people running around without helmets, which is a freedom thing, I guess. But as a truck driver, I condone that behavior because of all the bullshit I've seen go on the roads. Once again, I wonder if they got the jab. That's the ultimate question. If you got the jab and you're riding a fucking motorcycle and you're not wearing a fucking helmet, there's something wrong with you. I'll leave you to figure out what it is. Biden has to last 2 years plus 1 day to maximize Kamala's potential time in office. It's a very good point. It's like, why do they need to remove him? They don't know that Kamala's running shit. We go outside, remove our PPE, and have our break in the sunshine. Do you get closer than 6 feet together? Because the UK is hardcore, I hear, at least according to the news. Like I said, I'm not there, so I only hear those narratives. But it is what it is. Pretty soon you won't be able to go outside unless you got a certain passport, a very special passport. There's a picture of de Blasio's nuts on it. Let's see here. Duncan, the variant seems to be covered by jab. Infections went up in hospitals, have about 500 in ICU. The previous peak was 200, 2,500 people in the ICU. I think if the ICUs were overwhelmed, we would 100% be seeing it and hearing it on the news a hell of a lot more, if at all. I haven't seen a story to that nature because it fits their narrative, so they'd run it like 3 or 4 times in a newscast. Now, granted, I'm not watching a lot of their newscasts, so maybe they did, and I just missed the bus on that. But, at the end of the day, aren't you guys tired of this? I'm tired of it. It's been over we're going to hit 2 years pretty soon of doing this stupid shit. I'm tired of it. Can't we just go back to living our lives? We don't care about all the other things that could kill us. We eat bad, we go and we fucking drink, we drive our cars like assholes until someone dies there, we have heart attack is still the leading cause of preventable death in the country, or probably in the world for that matter. We do all kinds of things where we could probably die and probably have a stronger chance of dying than we do from that, but I'm not a scientist, I'm not a statistician, but if I had to suspect that if you ran the numbers, your risk of dying of those things is greater than your risk of dying certain other things right now. And there's plenty of those people in the ICU, in the hospital, and taking up the beds and filling up. I mean, we've had an overflowing healthcare system for years before COVID came along, But we don't care about any of that. I didn't see any effort. In fact, they're demonizing the diet again that could help a lot of people, particularly with diabetes, which is also taking motherfuckers out left and right. I'm sorry, but the hypocrisy of it all is just screaming to me. It's been from the beginning. I'm like, okay, you really care now? After all these years? The government and media fucking cares about us? Want to protect us? Yeah, right. I'm over this thing. I agree, honest as fuck. Gotta wear your symbol on your outer garments, or you won't be allowed to buy, sell, or otherwise be free without documentation or papers and permission from true. That's exactly how that went down. And here we are again with a different group of people being demonized. And basically it's anybody who is dissenting is being pointed at, and they're like, it's your fault. And the problem, because this has happened to me, I've had people be angry with me because they lost someone to the coup. It's not my fault. It's not people who believe in freedom's fault that happened. It's a virus that we have no control over. Look around. So when the government and media is pointing fingers at people like myself and saying, blame them, when really you should be blaming your medical care system and your government when things aren't going well. It's their responsibility. But no, they're all pointing fingers at anybody that doesn't want to give up their freedom for this fear. And here we are. We're going to have two classes of people here in the United States. Those who comply, and they'll be used to keep pressure on those that don't. And those that don't will lose all of the freedoms. And I'm going to be one of them. And I'll let you know how I do with it. You know, I'm pretty resourceful. I'm pretty sure I'll get by in this time. But it should be scary, because once they get rid of people like me, then who's going to stand in the way for them taking the rest of your freedom? No matter how compliant you are. Look at what's happened. You gave them everything. You gave them 1.5 years of your fucking life. And now they want more. It wasn't good enough. You know, at what point are you going to be like, oh, enough already? You know, it's horrible, and it's painful to watch, and it's so much so I don't even want to watch it anymore. I just want to come out here and escape now. I want to do escapist shit and spend my time not thinking about this shit. You know, I wasn't watching the news. I might not have heard about Cuomo today if it wasn't for my friend in the back seat going, oh, guess what? Or Steve calling, for that matter. You know, I wasn't watching the news today. I was going to edit video all day, because I've been way behind on that, because I spent the past couple days hanging out with my friends and being a human being instead of just, you know, pointing a camera at my face all the time. I don't know. I don't know how to make anyone feel better about anything, except you got to just try and escape this shit. Because if you consume nothing but this constantly, and I've been there, I've done it, you're going to be miserable with it. So I'm noticing I'm getting a lot of dislikes on that. 3 dislikes. Holy shit. Wow. That's a record. Usually I get the first 2 when they're done. We're up to 3. We're setting records today. I knew it because I was talking about politics. It was going to happen. I even sent out warnings about it. So PA government is not making a mask thingy in schools, and the media is all over its case. I don't get this madness. It's a campaign, you know. If you aren't towing the narrative, then you'll be demonized, like they were here in Sturgis. Any state that steps outside of that bounds is going to have hit pieces run on it by the media and be pointed at by everyone. See, it's their fault. They're the reason this is wrong. When, you know, it's really arguably whether or not it's nature's fault, you know, given some facts that have come out in that department. There's no controlling this. That's what I think a lot of people haven't come to terms with. This is going through us. It's going to keep going through us. And all the finger pointing and lockdowns and masks and all of that, you can keep doing that if you want, but it's still going to run through us. And it has. And I've said that from the beginning. I said it way back in the beginning of this shit. It's going to run through us. We're all going to get it at some point. Except for those of us, you know, that have natural immunity. I believe 30% of the population fits that, where you're just immune to begin with because you were exposed to some other shit back in the thing. But that's an opinion. I'm not a fucking expert. I might have done a little homework in that department, but you do your own homework. Just saying, you know, you're right. Good for you for hopping into Prius and traveling. Ironically, I did the same thing when, you know, in 2020, you know, just in a truck instead of the Prius. So, Mezzy lifestyle. I am sorry. I know I should not be here to flirt, but are you single? Honest. I am dating. Or are you talking to honest? I don't know. Sorry, Scott, for this. Oh, I thought you were flirting with me. It was like, I am dating. So there's that. I'm seeing someone. which means I'm not single. Are you getting the jab? No, I'm not, Kamal. Ever. I think I covered that. If you would have watched my Odysee video, you would already know the answer to that question, because I spoke pretty strongly. So head to Odysee and you'll be able to find the title. It's right up there, where I talk about the mayor and the downfall of Cuomo. You know, I was pretty vocal during that, pretty succinct. So if you just announced that you didn't watch that, that's okay. I still love you. You're a biker from the UK, so can you do a video on the Sturgis? Here's the thing, Keto Andy UK. I don't know if you're familiar with motorcycle culture here in the United States, but I am, because in fact, I was hanging out with some people in the MCs yesterday, and generally they don't want to be filmed. They don't want their picture taken. They don't want all of that. You know, some people, they take their cut off and they go and work regular lives and live regular jobs, and they don't want one to interfere with the other in some cases. So I've chosen to be very careful when it comes to filming and taking pictures. If I run around in full YouTuber mode, I'm liable to get fucked up. And I really don't want to get fucked up. And I'm going to respect the privacy of the people here that are exercising their freedom, because they might be going back to one of these prison states and be ridiculed by people that saw them on the internet. So I will describe some of my experience when I go to the concert. I'll probably film a little bit of the concert, because you can't really see anybody in that respect. But I did think about doing a full coverage video. I'm not going to downtown Sturgis or whatever, downtown. But, you know, I've been to some of the fairs that are going on around here and stuff, but mainly hanging with friends. I wasn't filming. I wasn't trying to do any of that. Plus, I'm behind a couple videos as it is. So, yeah, there's that. Mezzy Life. Yeah, I met Miss Honest. Are you single? Married and shit. I could have told you that. Scott, when was the last street fight you had? How tough are you, sir? It's been a long time, but when I need to, I can handle myself. Most people think I'm pretty crazy, though. They never go there with me, really. But I take care to not get into street fights, you know? I kind of mind my own fucking business. When you mind your own fucking business, you're less likely to erupt into physical conflict, unless somebody's seeking you out or some shit. I don't bother anybody. You know, if they're doing their thing, they're doing their thing. I don't get involved in the lives and drama of people enough to where they would want to fight me necessarily. So behind videos, I totally get that. I've been editing major. See, this is the first time I've sat to edit today. I've got a video for 1880s Town. I stopped there. I'm not doing a Badlands video necessarily. I'll talk a little bit about it, and some other things when I finish with South Dakota in general. I'll go over some of the things. I think during my hike, I'll talk about it a bit, because I am going to film my hike. But I got the 1880s, and I went to Wall Drug, but I'll give you a spoiler. I wasn't too thrilled with Wall Drug. So that's like a major or minor part of the next video that's coming out. But the next video is coming out is when I visited 1880 Town. And shit. But after that, I should be caught up for the most part, and I can start filming my next adventure video. So Duncan, 3 of my colleagues died due to COVID. A friend had C in 2020 and is still recovering. It is different for everyone. That's why it's hard. I sympathize, Duncan, but it's not something I did, you know, and we don't know how they got it, who it was from, or maybe you do. And if you do, How did they get it? Especially if they're following the rules. And if they didn't follow the rules, was it a personal choice? You know, I mean, there's a lot of people that want to point fingers at people like myself for this. And I didn't give COVID to your friends. You know, nobody I knew probably did. In fact, I know people that have gotten it from their friends who were also doing all of the right things. It delivered right to their home while wearing masks and doing everything they could to try and protect themselves. And they still got it. And it still ran through their whole family. The government and media wants you to point the finger at people like myself and blame us for your loss. You know, I can't blame you for the loss of people that I've experienced that had nothing to do with COVID and everything to do with the quality of life caused by the lockdowns. I don't blame the people that are calling for all of this shit necessarily for Nadine's suicide or my friend drinking himself to death. All of which were a direct result of this pandemic. I fully believe that both of these people would still be with us had it not been for the lockdowns. So does that give me the right to point the finger at people who are pro-jab and pro-lockdown? And no, it doesn't. And I don't. You know, I blame government for sure, because they're the ones creating these policies. But as for the people that are, you know, afraid and deserve to be afraid, especially if you've experienced what you've experienced, you know, each experience is different. But we're being divided on that fault line, and it's causing so much division. Like, there's people that hate me because they lost someone. Because of my opinion on this, they hate me. Meanwhile, my side ain't got nothing. We're getting shit taken away from us left and right. We haven't made any good policies. I'm pretty sure those people you're talking about weren't coming to South Dakota and these free states. You know, most of the people I know, they were in New York. So if they got it, it's New York's fault, not South Dakota and all these other fucking places. But they're pointing fingers. Everyone's pointing fingers. And it's not healthy to pit us against each other for really something that we don't have a say in. At the end of the day, we don't have a say in this, in how this mutates, in how it takes us out. If it takes us out, whether or not it becomes more transmissible or less transmissible, no matter what we do, nature will find a way. And if you look at any other thing throughout human history, nature always finds a way. You know, that's why we have, antibiotic resistant bacteria and stuff like that, because nature finds a way. The more you fight nature, this is the one thing I can 100% say with certainty. The more you fight nature, the more you step outside of nature, the harder nature will be on you. And it will take you out, and it doesn't care. Nature does not care about anybody's feelings or thoughts or any of that. And I'm tired of the finger pointing. Like, I get these comments regularly where somebody's like, I lost somebody, you piece of shit, you know, and I lost people too. And I lost people for an entirely different preventable reason. You could argue that there's prevention for the coup, but there isn't. It's not getting prevented. Even if you got it, the jab that is, you can still get the virus and spread it. They've said it. They said it on the news. I saw it. That's why they want you to mask up again. That's why they want you to lock down again. That's why they want you to have this passport. So they're just pointing the fingers at people that don't want to give up all their freedom for fear and saying it's their fault. When quite honestly, you can't definitively say that. You don't know who infected them. And if you do, 9 times out of 10, they were also following the rules. You know? And that's, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get off on this rant, but I've lost people too. And I am very angry that I lost some of these people. You know, but I'm not going to take it out on somebody that's afraid of the jab, afraid of the coof, and gets the jab, and that, you know, even if they're browbeating me, I don't blame them, because a lot of people are co-opted with by this fear right now, and they're innocent in my book. You know, I don't hate them just because they don't have a good source of information. I mean, you can't blame somebody when all their sources of information are telling them these things. It's not their fault. They just believe in what they think is real. They think all of this is the way it is. And, you know, I can't hate on them for that, even though they're going to hate me for it. And it sucks. But, you know. All right. All my family is jabbed except you. You should hear the lectures they give you. Yep. You know, at the end of the day, if they got it and you didn't, how was that affecting the people that got it again? You know, there's the other thing that no one seems to acknowledge. If you got the jab, what do you care if I got it or not? You know, is it because fellow people that also chose not to get it are susceptible? Well, we're all making our own decision, aren't we? We're in, you know, we don't want to do this, and we're not doing it. So if by that proxy of that decision, we get the coof and we don't make it, it was our decision. It was our responsibility. And we're not blaming anybody but ourselves if that happens, you know? Everybody wants to point the finger and you know, in situations like this where you can't control the outcome, you know? Less than 1 in 100 chance that people who got the jab get infected or transmit something else. So there is more than 100x chance of a mutation and reinfection who didn't. I don't know where you read that from, but all the jab does is increase the mutation rate. I'm sorry, you know, and the fact that people can still carry it, and they've said this, I'm not, Susan, settle down. This is said. You can still carry and get the virus, all right? In fact, there's been plenty of well-documented, famous cases of it. If that's the case, then it's not a real vaccine, is it? You know, but that's a question I'm asking. It's not, it's an opinion, all right? So, freedom and shit. Yeah, I don't think I'd make it as governor. I'm pissing people off in this live stream. Just because I have an opinion, and it's not flowing with the fucking narrative, you know? So, all right, let's see here. I can only do what I can, can't blame me, because I don't want to roll the dice with the jab. You can only have that beard that long if you're a biker. Oh, believe me, they're trying to get me on one. Steve lets me know whenever he finds a cheap bike. He found one for $2,600, but that's out of my budget. Well, I'm not trucking, that is. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready. You know, I'm not the greatest, you know, on two wheels. You know, I'm not the most graceful, coordinated motherfucker. I don't know if you figured that out or not. You know, I don't know that I want to. Part of me would love it, but part of me would probably, I don't know. All the years of being a truck driver, I'm turned off by the notion of not having a bunch of steel around me. Not that I have a bunch of plastic around me right now. But minimal protection against the people that are driving like assholes out there, I don't know. So, my paralyzed cousin and her mother, who treats her like shit, are so paranoid because of the news. She's now looking at 4 walls. Wants to take her own life, or do a drug OD. I don't know what to do. Vivian, I'm not necessarily the person to ask for that, because I lost somebody, and I don't think I would have been able to get them to change their mind. It really pains me that people are so quick to grandstand and point the finger at people and not realize the damage they're doing to people. You know, there's all this empathy flying around, and it's destroying mental health. It's destroying, and I've talked about this in past videos, particularly on Odysee. So if you want to broach the subject, I'm a little more open about talking about it on Odysee. Society isn't going to do anything but give them pills and send them on their way, when really it's the quality of life and the fear mongering need to stop. And I guess my advice, even though you shouldn't be just taking my advice, you should really seek the advice of a professional in terms of that. To just show them a better life, and take their mind away from these places. If they sit at home and consume this stuff, I've done it, and it's a hard nut to crack, because you're competing this nonstop barrage of fear from all sides, media, social media, friends, and family. I mean, how many of you have been pressured, if you're not following these things, by your fellow friends and relatives and neighbors? And when you're put on the outs like that, it's going to have a tremendous effect on mental health. I know I'm going to have some deep, dark depressions at some point, because it'll be triggered by these things that are taking away from me. I love to travel, and they've already taken international travel off the table for me, or planes for that matter. Some people aren't able to cope with that as it is. I mean, mental health was a shit show before this happened, and Big Pharma didn't care about that at all, and they still don't. They're still not taking care of people. They're giving you pills, and they're saying you got to take these the rest of your life. And then you have someone that takes themselves out regardless of that. So, yeah, that was a rough one. She's been this way for months, really bad, last 4 months. Get her out to the woods. Go for, obviously you have someone that's paralyzed there, but get them out. Get them out to a place where they can take their mind off of it. Because if they're just sitting at home, they're getting bombarded with this shit constantly, and you'll never snap out of it if you're constantly taking all of this in. But I know that that's a hard thing to do, because if they're afraid to that level, they're probably not going to want to go out. But yeah, mental health is definitely a real thing. But yeah, I've gotten letters from people who are at their wits' end. People, you got to do something about it. That's the only way you could snap out of the mental health thing. Like the subscriber I talked to, she was from New Hampshire and worked in a medical system, but did not want to wear the mask. So I have great respect for people that do this. She said, fuck it, quit, and moved here in December. And that takes a lot of fortitude to stand up for yourself in that way, and to go against the grain, and I'm sure she was ridiculed by friends and family as a result. But to stand up for yourself like that takes a lot of courage and fortitude in the mental health department. And unfortunately, most people aren't in the position to do that, You typed a message and it disappeared. Pixie post. I had moments where it got to me, even though I'm a pretty positive person. We are human. It's going to weigh on us sometimes. I think some of us have it harder because they can't get away from this stuff. We all have it hard. I do everything in my power to escape it, and it still creeps in. Short of going into the woods with a backpack, there's really not a whole lot of ways to cut everything off. As long as you got a connection, you're going to hear about it, and you're going to see every bad thing that happens in the world going forward. So Eating like shit does not help mental health. I agree. So, although I haven't had a depression on this trip yet. So be it. Apparently, I'm getting lots of vitamin D, which helps. But I know there's going to be a depression that's going to last a lot longer than it should because I've eaten like shit during this. So I've troubleshot this in the past. I know that the more shitty my diet, the longer my depressions last when they hit. But I've been dealing with it long enough that I'm kind of like disconnected to the point where I can say, here we are again. I'm depressed. I know why I'm depressed. I know what triggered it. And I know it's just a matter of time before I come out of it. And I know that's not everybody. That's me. I'm talking about me on that. I can't speak for everyone else's experience with this. And I'm kind of finding it interesting that I haven't experienced a depression since I've been out here. But it doesn't mean I won't. I'm only 10 days into this trip, so we'll see how it goes. But apparently I'm getting a lot of dopamine and serotonin being out here, which helps. When we take care of ourselves first, we can serve others much better. That's true. And I'll get back on the horse. It's just I was being social. I was in an environment that had very little in the way of... So, that's me. All right, how are we doing on time here? How long have I been? An hour and a half? I'd say we've streamed long enough, wouldn't you? So, to the 3 people who gave me the thumbs down, I'm sorry. But these are my opinions. I'm not asking you to have them. For those of you who smashed like, thank you. I'm glad we're rid of Cuomo, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think much is going to change. I don't see New York becoming a bastion of freedom in my lifetime, for that matter. I am glad to see that there are some New Yorkers who are standing up to Bill de Blasio and protesting appropriately, so that gives me a little bit of hope, especially since they're doing it in New York City. But I don't think there's enough of them to shift the way things are, and with the constant media narrative, I don't see a lot of people standing up in the future. So while I'm glad that Cuomo's getting some stress out of this, and he's getting, I hope he gets prosecuted for it, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that. It doesn't really mean life is going to change in New York State, I don't think. It's just going to have a different name on the same authoritarian things that they want to pass. So there's that. Have faith. We all have the power to create change in our own lives. I would agree with that. And that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to change my reaction to shit that I can't control. I am looking into becoming a stoic, essentially. I'm looking into stoicism and how I think it can help me lead a better life going forward. So, there's that. Cuomo even made UK headlines today. Strange, and we don't usually hear much about USA politics. He's a governor too. Like, it's international. I don't know. He pissed somebody off. I'm telling you, he pissed someone off. It had to happen. I know what that means, mezzy lifestyle and shit. And I am both of those. So, go get painted Buffalo Chip. I am still sober, all right? I have my 1 to 2 drink limit if I go out, and I'm maintaining my sobriety fairly efficiently. Sorry, making sure no one rolled up on me. I'm parked in a secret location. So even though all this partying's going on, I've maintained my sobriety throughout it, So there's that. I haven't fucked that up yet. It's just keto I've fucked up on, and my alternate day fasting. I'll get back on the horse though, especially when I get out in the middle of nowhere. I think I'll do a lot better with it, because I'll be relying. I'm not buying groceries that aren't keto, by the way. These are these situations where I fell off the diet. That's why I say I'm mostly keto. They were all when I was out, eating out and stuff. So there's that. But now that I'm on my own and not hanging with friends that much now that I'm out here, I'm probably going to be able to stick to it a little bit better. And I'm working on, every time I fail, I try to get back on the horse. So I'll be getting back on the horse with the alternate day fasting for sure, and trying to be more keto in the future. But at the end of the day, this is a vacation too, so there's that. Alrighty. Thank you for hanging out with me and celebrating Cuomo leaving. It had to happen. It's great. And to those of you who have unsubscribed as a result of this, okay, sorry. For those of you who are also celebrating a mild victory in this bullshit, hit the like button. Shit. If you like my shit, please subscribe, hit the bell, but most of all, go to ScottTheTruckDriver.com and sign up for my free email list, because I gave them a heads up to let you know what's going on here. So if Susan doesn't tell you I'm coming, or if I go somewhere else, that's the only way to find out. So you might want to do that. Have a nice motherfucking day. Shit. And more streams to come when I have signal. I'm getting out west though, so there might be some gaps to where I don't have internet. So, all right, now I shut this shit off. All right, I think I hit this X. All right. Goodbye, everybody. And fuck Cuomo.